Khan. Okay, shalom, shalom. First of all, I'd like to give unlimited praises, glorification, and honor to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai. Double honor goes to the venerable apostles of the Great Millstone, GMS, who rule and teach Yasha Allah well, through the Spirit, leading the flock by example. Peace, blessings, and salutations goes out to the Akim, pushing this 100% gospel, this good news, the world over, in sincerity, in honesty, and in truth, risking their life for Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai's sake. Adawan Rataza, which means Lord willing. So Lord willing, this lesson is edifying. So the subject, all right, of this lesson is going to be on the fact that abortions are satanic. Okay, abortions are demonic. All right. So we're going to start off in the book of Leviticus, okay, which is in the law. All right, the law of Moses. So Leviticus chapter 18, verse 1 reads, "And the Lord Yahweh spoke unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them that I am the Lord Yahweh, your power." All right, we jump down to verse 21. This is one of the commandments. It says, "And you shall not let any of your seed," meaning your children, "pass through the fire to Molech, neither shall you profane the name of thy power. I am the Adawan Yahweh." Okay, so abortions are demonic because, you know, what you're doing is you're actually sacrificing your child to Molech. All right, that's unlawful. It is a sin. So every time you see someone, get an abortion, or every time someone gets an abortion, they're basically sacrificing their seed to Molech. All right, and if you look at how Esau Edom, the so-called white man, has Babylon the Great set up, all right, with all these, abortion clinics and Planned Parenthoods in the neighborhoods, right? That's primarily, populated by Israelites, your so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, all right? You know, the abortion centers are mainly in those areas as a, method of population control, and that's one of the, wine and philosophy, right, that Esau pushes out on these other nations, things like abortion, okay? So, don't be, surprised if those doctors that perform, abortions actually perform satanic rituals inside Planned Parenthoods, okay? That just shows you how that having an abortion is a wicked act of sacrificing your seed, okay? And Planned Parenthood is the largest single provider of abortion in America, you know? So again, Leviticus chapter 18, verse 21, "And you shall not let any of your seed pass through the fire to Molech, neither shall you profane the name of thy power. I am the Lord Yahweh." Okay? So, every time someone has an abortion, they're welcoming that spirit of Molech on themselves. Okay? Because they're killing, their seed, because they've, sacrificed their child. Right? And these doctors are witches and warlocks, man. You know? They're involved in all these wicked satanic practices and rituals, you know. It's a precept in Leviticus chapter 20, and look at the subheading on human sacrifice in immoralities. Alright. Leviticus chapter 20, verse 1. "And the Lord Yahweh spake unto Moses, saying, Again you shall say to the children of Israel, Whosoever he be of the children of Israel, or of the strangers that sojourn in Israel, that giveth any of his seed unto Molech, he shall surely be put to death. The people of the land shall stone him with stones." Okay, so that's a grave sin, man. Alright, and it's punishable by death, by stoning. Right, it's a serious sin, and the wages of sin is death. Okay. Verse 3, "And I will set my face against that man, and will cut him off from among his people, because he hath given of his seed unto Molech to defile my sanctuary, and to profane my holy name. And if the people of the land do anyways hide their eyes from the man when he gives of his seed unto Molech, and kill him not, then I will set my face against that man and against his family, and will cut him off, and all that go a whoring after him to commit whoredom with Molech from among their people." Okay, you know. So again, it's this is heavily looked down upon. All right, and Molech was a Canaanite deity. You know, if you look at this on Google, who is Molech in the Bible? Right? Molech was a Canaanite deity associated in biblical sources with the practice of child sacrifice, a pagan god. Right? The Canaanites, which are the Hamites, they used to worship. All right? And after women, after they get an abortion, they tend to become depressed. All right? Because it's a traumatic experience to go through as well. All right? Because that demonic spirit is on them for what they've did when sacrificed their child. All right? If you decide to have children, all right, you have to be responsible. To take care of them. But that's Jake's excuse, man. He likes to say, I'm too young to have children. I'm not ready now. All right, and he'll persuade, his woman, his Eve, right, to get an abortion. Okay, and that's part of being a man, stepping up and taking responsibility. Okay. Now, one of the biggest advocates was, for Planned Parenthood was Margaret Sanger. Okay, she had, numerous quotes, and one of them is this: "We want a world freer, happier, cleaner. We want a race of thoroughbreds." Okay, look at this. The most merciful thing that the large family does to one of its infant members is to kill it. Alright? Of course, she was an Edomite and she advocated that, primarily, against Israelites. Okay? There was a quote she made about the human race being like weeds. Oh, that was it. Not the human race, but coloured people, rather. Sorry. Being likened unto weeds. So she said, "Coloured people are like human weeds and need to be exterminated." Right, and Hillary Clinton jumped on the bandwagon and said, "I admire Margaret Sanger enormously, her courage, her tenacity, her vision." And I believe Margaret Sanger herself had children. Okay, makes her biggest hypocrite. Right, Margaret Sanger, and this is from Britannica, this website, this information. Margaret Sanger, original name Margaret Louise Higgins, born September the 14th, 1879, in Kearney, New York, America, and she died September the 6th, 1966. Look at that, 666. Right, that's spiritual there, man. These people have their father, the devil, man. These people are of Satan. Okay, and she's the founder of the birth control movement in the United States and an international leader in the field. Right, she's credited with originating the term birth control. Okay. In 1912, Sanger gave up nursing to devote herself to the cause of birth control and sex education, publishing a series of articles on the topics, including What Every Girl Should Know. Okay. So I'll pick out certain bits of information. Alright, in 1921, Sanger founded the American Birth Control League, and she served as its president until 1928. The League was one of the parent organizations of the Birth Control Federation of America, which in 1942 became the Planned Parenthood Federation of America, with Sanger as an honorary chairman. Right, Sanger, who had traveled to Europe to study the issue of birth control there, also organized the first World Population Conference in Geneva in 1927. Sorry. Okay. And as wicked as Esau Edom is, this is why women, shouldn't be taking the leadership role as well. Look at this. Subsequently, she took her campaign for birth control to Asian countries, especially India and Japan. That a lot of those nations in the Far East, man, have high populations. Right. Sanger's legacy has been complicated by his support of eugenics, the idea that selective breeding for desired heritable characteristics could improve future generations of humans. Okay. She's basically an advocate for the so-called white race. Alright. So that's her. You know. So abortions, man, it's wicked. Alright. Alright, we've got an even accounts in the scriptures about abortion, right? Now, even though it doesn't go under that name, right, it's still the same act, okay, right? Because there's nothing new under the sun. So let's get 2 Kings chapter 16 from the top, and it's Ahaz reigns over Judah, right? So it reads, in the 17th year of Pekah, the son of Remaliah, Ahaz the son of Jotham, king of Judah, began to reign. 20 years old was Ahaz when he began to reign, and reigned 16 years in Jerusalem, and did not that which was right in the sight of the Lord Yahweh his God, like David his father. Okay. Verse 3. But he walked in the way of the kings of Israel, yea, and made his son to pass through the fire, according to the abominations of the heathen, whom the Lord Yahweh cast out from before the children of Israel. Whenever you see, the Hebrew word, or whether you see children, okay, in the scriptures, okay, the Hebrew word is ban, right? Son, male, child, grandson, youth, right? Or plural, children, banyam, right? Singular ban, okay. Verse 4. And he sacrificed and burnt incense in the high places and on the hills and under every green tree, right? And that was a heathen custom, man, to sacrifice, their seed, right? So, this describes Ahaz's participation in the worship of Molech, okay? Because again, this is a Canaanite pagan false god, i.e., demon, right? And how they would actually worship Molech was by heating a metal statue, which would, represent the god, all right? So they'd heat the statue until it was red hot. Then they would place a living infant into the outstretched hands of the statue. Meanwhile, all right, they would beat the drums to drown out the screams of the child until it burned to death. So that's what they would do, okay? And even this image right here, these images, all right, if I can zoom in on this one, right, and you can see the people around it, and that was the Molech false god that they'd offer into the infant into and burn it alive, man. That's a statue of it, okay? So that's what because not these modern day, abortion clinics. That's just the modern ritual of it. Okay, that's all it is. Let's get First Kings, chapter 11. We'll start at verse 6. And Solomon did evil in the sight of Yahweh, and went not fully after the Lord Yahweh, as did David his father. Now Solomon is the pre-incarnation of Yahushua, if you're able to receive it. Okay. Verse 7 reads, Then did Solomon build an high place for Chemosh, the abomination of Moab, which are the so-called Chinese, Vietnamese, Koreans, alright, in the hill that is before Jerusalem, and for Molech, the abomination of the children of Ammon, and Ammon are the so-called Japanese, okay. So sadly, King Solomon at least sanctioned the worship of Molech, and indeed built a temple to the idol, okay. And again, all it is, abortions, is the modern day ritual and practice of passing a child that is sacrificed, to Molech, okay. So, he built a place of, worship from all that, man. Let's get 2 Kings chapter 17, verse 1. In the 12th year of Ahaz, king of Judah, began Hoshea the son of Elah to reign in Samaria over Israel 9 years. And he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord Yahweh, but not as the kings of Israel that were before him. Okay. Let's down to verse 17. And it reads, And they caused their sons and their daughters to pass through the fire, and used divination and enchantments, and sold themselves to do evil in the sight of the Lord Yahweh, to provoke him to anger. Okay. So one of the great crimes of, the northern tribes of Israel was their worship of Molech. Okay. Which would end up leading them to the Assyrian captivity. Okay. Verse 18, Therefore the Lord was very angry with Israel, and removed them out of his sight. There was none left but the tribe of Judah only. Okay. Judah being southern kingdom. Alright. And also Judah kept not the commandments of the Lord Yahweh, their power, but walked in the statutes of Israel, which they made. So our people always, followed the multitude to do evil. We always followed, these are the nations and followed in their abominable works. Okay. Verse 20, and the Lord Yahweh rejected all the seed of Israel and afflicted them and delivered them into the hands of the spoilers until he had cast them out of his sight. Alright. And when you go further back up, man, verse 17 again, and they caused their sons and their daughters to pass through the fire and use divination and enchantments. And that's witchcraft, man. Alright. Scripture says, suffer not a witch to live. Alright. Let's get a precept. Deuteronomy chapter 18. And verse 9, when you are come into the land which the Lord Yahweh thy power giveth thee, you shall not learn to do after the abominations of those nations. There shall not be found any among you, anyone that maketh his son or his daughter to pass through the fire, alright, that use divination, or an observer of times, or an enchanter, or a witch, or a charmer, or a consulter with familiar spirits, or a wizard, or a necromancer. That's right, man. Communicating with the dead. These soothsayers. Getting your palm read, things like that. Okay, that's off. That's wicked. All right. And that's Deuteronomy, the second book of the law. All right. This is another precept in 2 Kings 21. All right, and this is when Manasseh succeeds Hezekiah. All right, Manasseh was 12 years old when he began to reign, and reigned 5 years in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Hephzibah, and he did that which was evil in the sight of Yahweh, after the abominations of the heathen, whom the Lord Yahweh cast out before the children of Israel. For he built up again the high places which Hezekiah his father had destroyed, and he reared up altars for Baal, and made a grove, as did King Ahab of Israel, and worshipped all the hosts of heaven, and served them. Okay, so he built up a place. Alright. Altars for Baal. Verse 4, and he built altars in the house of the Lord, of which the Lord said in Jerusalem, will I put my name? Sorry about that. And he built altars for all the host of heaven in 2 courts of the house of the Lord. Alright. Verse 6, and he made his son pass through the fire, and observed times, and used enchantments, and dealt with familiar spirits and wizards. He wrought much wickedness in the sight of Yahweh to provoke him to anger. That's right, because the Lord is a jealous power. Alright. And only him and him alone is to be worshipped. Okay. Verse 7, and he set a graven image of the grove that he had made in the house of which the Lord Yahweh said to David and to Solomon his son, in this house and in Jerusalem, which I have chosen out of all the tribes of Israel, will I put my name forever. Neither will I make the feet of Israel move any more out of the land which I gave their fathers. Only if they will observe to do according to all that I have commanded them, and according to all the law that my servant Moses commanded them. But they hearkened not, meaning they didn't listen, and Manasseh seduced them to do more evil than did the nations whom the Lord destroyed before the children of Israel. So they did even more evil, right, than the other nations, okay, whom the Lord destroyed, right, before. Okay. Verse 10, and the Lord spake by his servants the prophets, saying, because Manasseh king of Judah hath done these abominations, and hath done wickedly above all that the Amorites did, which were before him, and hath made Judah also to sin with his idols. Therefore thus saith the Lord Yahweh of Israel, behold, I am bringing such evil upon Jerusalem and Judah, that whosoever heareth it, both his ears shall tingle, right? Okay, so the Lord is, bringing evil upon, both northern kingdom and southern kingdom of Israel. Alright, verse 13, and I will stretch over Jerusalem the line of Samaria, and the plummet of the house of Ahab, and I will wipe Jerusalem as a man wipeth a dish, wiping it and turning it upside down. And I will forsake the remnant of mine inheritance, and deliver them into the hand of their enemies, and they shall become a prey and a spoil to all our enemies. Alright, that's right, because the Lord uses these other nations to punish us when we go off. Okay. Verse 15, because they have done that which was evil in my sight, and have provoked me to anger since the day their fathers came forth out of Egypt, even unto this day. Right? So here he is, man. Yahweh, Baal Shem Yahushai, raised up Moses to deliver us out of Egypt. And we'll go straight back into idolatry again, man. That's how you know who the Israelites, man. That's how you know who the Israelites are. You know, okay. You know, the majority of Israel, man, is the idolatrous people. All right. So verse 16 reads, "Moreover, Manasseh shed innocent blood very much, till he had filled Jerusalem from one end to another, beside his sin, wherewith he made Judah to sin, in doing that which was evil in the sight of the Lord." All right. Verse 17, "Now the rest of the acts of Manasseh, and all that he did, and his sin that he sinned, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Judah?" All right. So, King Manasseh of Judah, he gave up his son to Molech. All right. If we jump, to 2 Kings chapter 23, all right. Subheading reads Josiah's covenant. "And the king sent, and they gathered unto him all the elders of Judah and Jerusalem." All right. Verse 2, "And the king went up into the house of the Lord, and all the men of Judah, and all the inhabitants of Jerusalem with him, and the priests and the prophets, and all the people, both small and great. And he read in their ears all the words of the book of the covenant, which is found in the house of the Lord." All right. If we jump down to, verse 23. I believe it was verse 23. If I remember correctly. Oh yeah, yeah, basically the whole chapter. All right, because up until the days of King Josiah of Judah, Molech worship continued. All right, because he ended up destroying the place of worship. All right, to the idol. All right, okay, Josiah basically destroyed idolatry in Judah. All right. Verse 10, "And he defiled Topheth, which is in the valley of the children of Hinnom, that no man might make his son or his daughter to pass through the fire to Molech." Okay. Verse 11, "And he took away the horses that the kings of Judah had given to the sun, and entering in the house of the Lord, by the chamber of Nathan-melech, the chamberlain, which was in the suburbs, and burned the chariots of the sun with fire." Okay, and you can read the full account in 2 Kings chapter 23. Alright. So, again, man, abomination. Abortion is an abomination. Alright. Alright, it's a sin. Okay, and these abortion clinics, which are situated heavily in Jake neighborhoods, man. They're there deliberately. Alright. Again, as a means for, population control. And you still have our people that run to it. Alright. That run to get abortions and things like that. Okay. So, I don't want to rattle out. This lesson was edifying. Just gonna leave it there. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone who rule well, who teach well. Alright. With that, all praises, glory, and honor goes to Yahweh, Vashem, Yahweh Shai. With that, Kwam Yasharala, Wa Abababal. We got next, Lord willing. Shalom to the elect.